In this video, we discuss the program we wrote for this example. As requested in this example, we wrote a user-defined function named as getSum of squares. Since this function receives two integer inputs, we need to set up two integer channels, which we can use to pass integers to the body of the function. In line 4, following the name of function, we set up two integer channels by specifying the type of the channel and the name of the channel. The type of the first channel is int, and the name of this channel is input1. The type of the second channel is also int, and the name of the channel is input2. We place those channels inside a pair of the parentheses following the name of the function. In C++ programming, we normally don't call them channels. Instead, we call them parameters. So the parameters of a function act as channels for passing the data to the body of the function. Since this function will produce a sum of squares as output, the output of this function is also an integer. To specify the function produces an integer output, we place data type int in front of the name of the function. Now, we complete the first part of this function, and this part of the function is called header of the function. Now, let's take a look at the code of this user-defined function. The code between the curly brackets is called the body of the function, which normally performs certain tasks. For this function, it calculates the sum of the squares between the first input number and the second input number. In line 5, we declare an integer variable s and initialize it to 0. We use this variable for storing the summation. Line 6 and 7, we use a looping statement that runs the value of the looping variable I from the first input number to the second input number with an increment of 1. During each iteration of the looping statement, we execute the statement s plus equal I times I, which add the square of I to the variable s. Upon the completion of the for loop statement, the variable s is holding the sum of all the squares of the numbers between input 1 and input 2. And this is what we were asking for. In line 8, we use a return statement to output the sum. We complete the code of the function with a closed bracket at line 9. We can't run this program at this point. We have to write a main function. In main function, we test the function we wrote. In line 12, we declare two integer variables for storing users' inputs. Line 13 and 14, we ask user to enter two integers and use a cin statement to put them into the variable a and b. In line 16, we call the function getSum of squares and pass the user's input to the body of the function through the two channels we set up, which we call the function's parameters. The code of the function uses those input numbers to control the looping statement and produce the sum and send the output back, which is the sum of the squares. Then we use the code cout to display the output of the function on the output screen of the program. Now we can test run this program as following. We enter two integers, 5, and 9. Then we can see the sum of the squares of the numbers between 5 and 9 is calculated and displayed as 255. That's the code of this function along with the testing program. Thanks for watching.